This is The Gorge. This is the podcast where my friend Sarah and I gorge ourselves on overanalyzing a game or game-related topic. And this week we are talking about licensed video games.
We're talking about licensed video games in the flesh. There's no more trying to sync up recordings today, kiddies, because we are sitting in the same room like a pair of normal individuals.
I'm looking right at her, and she's laying on my floor.
I'm laying on the floor with my eyes closed so I can, think while we podcast. I'm like, I love shit-talking licensed games because, boy, most licensed games are bad. Pretty much all licensed games are bad, except for, 3, maybe.
And we played a whole bunch the other day. And
I wanted to die. Catwoman literally made me want to kill myself.
Yeah. It seems to be there's a proportion of the quality of the product it's based on is equal to the quality of the product that the game will be output.
That's not true because Iron Man was a good movie and Iron Man was a bad video game.
You know what? That's true. Actually.
Iron Man is one of the greatest superhero movies ever made, and I'll fight any one of you fuckers. Am I allowed to say your mother is in this home?
It's okay.
Okay. I'll fight any one of you people. Otherwise, because seriously, Iron Man is an incredible superhero movie and a very, very, very bad video game. Did you ever play it?
Yeah, actually, I played the Wii version.
Ooh, even worse. You inflicted all of the worst possible combinations of the bad game on you. 'Cause generally speaking, licensed Wii games were truly the cancer upon the video game industry.
There's a level, a serious Wii's licensed games are at a cap, and it is as low as you can possibly go.
It's the lowest possible bar.
There is a bar, but that bar only goes this high.
It's 2 inches off the ground, and you can't even hula under it. It is that bad. Seriously, the Wii licensed game is probably the definition of poor quality in video games. If you're hey, tell me a bad video game, any licensed Wii game. Any of them, really. I'm trying to think of a good one and I'm coming up blank, and I should have done my homework before we did this podcast. But none of them exist. I'm pretty sure you've got a Wii, but you've only got original games for it.
The only licensed game I have on the Wii, I guess it's kind of licensed, is Epic Mickey, and that's not very good either.
That doesn't count. And Epic Mickey was not nearly as good as it was supposed to be.
No, it was not.
That was a game that we should have talked about with disappointing games.
Yeah.
Because Epic Mickey was a game that was supposed to be the cool return to form, an actual Disney game that didn't make you your teeth rot out with its saccharine sweetness, and it just kind of ended up being a big old fat shrug.
Well,
and Disney, the crazy thing is Disney gave up a human being to get Oswald the Rabbit back.
Yeah.
Did you ever hear that story?
Yeah.
Yeah. They gave up a sportscaster because Disney owns ESPN to CBS or something like that. I don't remember. No, CBS. No, Disney owns ABC. Anyways, they gave a sportscaster, they traded his contract for the rights to Oswald the Rabbit. And,
they haven't done anything with Oswald since.
Because they made the bad game. And I have an Oswald the Rabbit t-shirt, and it's pretty cool. But, it was just a bad it wasn't bad, it was just mediocre. It just wasn't a good video game.
The concept art for Epic Mickey is some of the best ever.
Because it was the game Epic Mickey was supposed to be.
Yeah,
it was supposed to be you see the concept art for Epic Mickey, and it's this crazy wasteland, desolate, nightmare fuel looking stuff. And then, of course, Disney being Disney, refused to pull the trigger on actually doing anything interesting with their licenses ever, because we've got to make sure everything is as homogenized as possible. Thanks, Disney. I still love Disney World, but let's be real for a minute. Disney will never pull truly pull the trigger and do something really groundbreaking because that won't make enough money.
Yeah.
But yeah, Epic Mickey is a whole lot of not much on the Wii, and there really is the number of truly great licensed games is negligible at best. Licensed video games were responsible for the crash of the industry in
Yeah,
'84.
E.T. was the licensed game that killed video games in the 80s.
But honestly, what's wild is that the Indiana Jones game for the Atari 2600 is the game that kind of gave Atari its like major legs, because it was actually, for the time, an actual good video game. I mean, you go back and play it now and it's garbage. But like, it had a few interesting things. Like, it had like a rudimentary inventory system for a game on a 2600.
That's weird.
Yeah, right? Like, it had a lot of like really interesting like little things that you wouldn't expect out of a really mediocre, like not mediocre, but just
a game of that caliber at the time, where like you couldn't. There was, your options were severely limited.
Yeah, but it was like an interesting, like a pretty interesting little game, and like they made it work, and it sold really well. And because of the success of that game, of the Indiana Jones game, was what spurred Universal to be like, hey, make us an E.T. game in like 2 months. Which of course led to destruction. Yeah. So really, it's wild to think that like the industry was kind of popularized and then destroyed by licensed games, which is like a weird Greek tragedy if you think about it. It's like, what created you will destroy you, you know? And like, really interesting.
That's Game of Thrones as hell.
It's Game of Thrones! It's so Game of Thrones! Like, it's like exactly that. Like, I feel like old Mags or whatever, Granny Rags? No, that's Dishonored.
Yeah.
Whatever, the person that told Cersei she was gonna die.
Yeah.
Her. It's like totally a kind of thing she'd like predict, you know? But like, licensed games.
And now, what's weird about them is like, and especially in the category of like superhero games, because that's the ones we played a lot of those. And I bought a lot of them, and I have a lot of them on my shelf right now. And it's like, it should be a done deal, right?
It should be easy.
Like, you have a character.
Right.
He has abilities.
It's easy.
They're folded right into the character.
Yeah, you don't have to hand wave it or anything.
You have bad guys. You have a whole army of bad guys they can fight.
Right.
Like, it's done, all the hard stuff is done for you.
All the work, and you still manage to, because I guess it's like, the companies that make these things are like, well, you don't need to make a good video game, you just need to make a video game. Because at the end of the day, the children who buy these things wouldn't know what a good video game was if it kicked them in the pants.
But like, the same thing is like, on that same note, is that like sometimes you get a really, really good game in that category.
Yeah, it's really bizarre to think that probably the best licensed game ever made. We're not counting the Batman
the Arkhams.
Games.
Yeah,
they don't count because like they're not based off the Christopher Nolan movies.
Right.
They're their own entity that's kind of like, that just got popular based off the Christopher Nolan movies, but it's not the same thing. But like, probably the greatest licensed video game ever made is, paradoxically, The Chronicles of Riddick: Escape from Butcher Bay.
Yeah!
Have you played it?
I've played that one. That one's really good!
It's really good! And like, it's based off of Vin Diesel movie.
Off of a Vin Diesel movie that didn't really do that well.
And isn't very good.
Yeah.
Like, if you've ever seen Pitch Black is the prequel to The Chronicles of Riddick, and it's actually a pretty good little sci-fi movie if you ever like want to see one. But The Chronicles of Riddick is not a good movie, and Escape from Butcher Bay is like the prequel, like the sequel to Pitch Black and the prequel to Escape from Butcher Bay, and it's like, or no, excuse me, did I just say?
It's the midquel
between the Chronicles of Riddick. Yeah, I'm like trying to think and talk at the same time. Turns out I'm not very smart. But like, Escape from Butcher Bay is a genuinely good first-person shooter, which is really weird, but it has a good little gimmick with the whole, you know, being able to see in the dark thing, and like, it plays really well, and it's really creative, and it has like good level design, and just like the weapons feel good, and everything's really satisfying, and it's a little short, but like, it's like, you could probably, if you'd played it before, you could probably clear it in like 6 to 7 hours maybe. Which is pretty, you know, short.
That's pretty short, but that was what, an Xbox classic game?
It was it was like an Xbox original game. Yeah, so like, not too unexpected.
For an FPS campaign, like 6 hours is not bad.
Back in the day, yeah. These days they have to be longer because video games are more expensive now. But like, it is a weirdly good game for a really not good movie. Just for really not great. And they remastered it for 360 a few years ago, and they bundled it with something called Assault on Dark Athena, which was like, I didn't actually play the Assault on Dark Athena part. I just never got around to it. Like, I bought it was for the 360, and I bought it because I wanted to replay Escape from Butcher Bay. But I never got around to that part, because I was just kind of like, well, I got my fix in for, like, a bit of a nostalgic game that I played with my younger brother, and then I was done with it. But, I don't know if it's, like, considered, like, a DLC, or, like, a sequel, or what. Anyways, nobody said it was very good.
Mm-hmm.
Which is weird, because, again, like, it's a sequel to a game that was very good, but they just somehow couldn't rebottle that magic. And so, Assault on Dark Athena was just kind of like, eh.
Do you know what studio made it?
No. Why would you ask me that?
Oh.
You know, I never do my homework when I play these things. Hold on. Assault on Dark Athena. I'll get it. Just, don't mind me. I did my homework.
It's just really weird for, like...
Starbreeze Studios.
Starbreeze Studios?
And Tygon Studios. Yeah.
Tygon sounds familiar. Did they do anything else? Because that's really what it boils down to, is that a lot of these licensed games are games that are just, like, completely farmed out to the most bottom of the barrel local studios that they can grab the license from.
Man, the guys who made Escape from Butcher Bay have made nothing else, like, even, like, notable. They said notable games developed include The Chronicles of Riddick, Escape from Butcher Bay, Payday 2, and Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons.
Well, Payday 2 is pretty big. Wait, the same studio that made Assault on Butcher Bay made Brothers?
I don't even know what that game is.
Oh, that was like a really weird, like, artistic game that came out, I think on the Xbox, where it was like a sort of single-player co-op game where, like, you had to control both brothers at the same time, and, like, it was like an adventure game. And you had to, like, manipulate both of them at the same time, kind of thing. Like, kind of like the way Ico has you guiding around Yorda, sort of. But, like, it was a very artistic game, and I would not like. That's a strange resume to have.
It is a very, it's a very strange, yeah, and they made a Walking Dead game? Overkill's The Walking Dead? I don't know what that is.
Oh, that was probably the first-person shooter.
Did they oh, that's tragic.
Because they made a first-person shooter starring Daryl from the show, like, not based on the comics.
Hey, there's another bad license game.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. Look at that. We did it. I didn't play that one. Tell me how bad it was.
The Walking Dead one?
Yeah.
It was, you know, zombies would clip through walls, or they would get stuck in their walking animation.
Yeah.
And its big thing is that Norman Reedus did the voice for the character.
Oh, okay.
Like,
that's kind of all it's got going for it.
It was the most generic first-person shooter type thing.
Generic shooty bangs, bad first-person shooter license game. So, like, the most standard of, like...
Yeah.
The most... Like a bad license game you'd see in a movie, you know?
Yeah. Well, like, what I've noticed is that, like, it is, for the most part, it is live-action material that has the worst licensed games.
Because you can't, like, it's so hard. Part of it, and we kind of saw it with, like, Catwoman, is, like, the guy who so we played Catwoman, and I did legitimately hate myself afterwards, and I felt like I was dirty on the inside afterwards, having played it. Because nothing in the game's design makes sense. Who makes a game where you can't use the face buttons at all?
The face buttons in that game do nothing.
They do nothing. Did you Google it afterwards?
I didn't even want to, but, like...
They do nothing! It makes no sense! Who makes a video game where you jump with R1? Who sat down and made a design document for this game and said, this is what we're gonna do?
Like, even in first-person shooters where, like, the face buttons aren't used as much and you mostly use the triggers because you need your thumb on the second analog stick.
Yeah.
Even then, jump is usually regulated to, like, the bottom button or the top button.
It's in most of the times it's X, and in Bethesda games, it's the top button or Y or whatever you want to call it. But it's always X at the bottom. But yeah, like, it's... Oh god, I gotta roll over. Like, I'm, like, laying. So, like, the point is, who thought that was a good idea? Who said, yeah, let's make the R1 button of all fucking things? And then it was like, the analog sticks controlled your attacks?
Yeah. Like, you moved the analog stick in the direction that you wanted to attack.
It was awful. It was awful, and I can't believe... But, like, so it was, like, based off a live-action movie where the detective from Law & Order once was the love interest in that movie, but they couldn't get the likenesses to his face for the game, so they just used, like, generic blonde men, and it was, like... It's, like, the ugliest fucking game I've ever seen.
No, because the Catwoman character, the Halle Berry model, is, like, really well done, you know?
Yeah.
And she's got, like, this great-looking texture and, like high poly count, and then everyone who isn't Halle Berry looks like a Vice City character. Like, straight up mitten hands, and, like, weird pixelated texture mouths.
And, like, weirdly unexpressive, like, just blank faces that look like they were made out of, like, 3-week-old dough.
Like, here's Halle Berry in, like, her halter top that's, like, cut up, and, like, her shiny pants that have, like, scratches and marks, and then here's, like, the detective guy, and his shirt is blue.
His shirt is blue, but it has, like, no other colors going on. Like, by the way, that costume is so fucking stupid. It is so hideous. Like, who sat down and thought, like, there has never been, unless you're talking, like, Michelle Pfeiffer in, like, Batman 2, there's never been a good Catwoman costume in the movies. Like...
In the movies, no, because it always either looks like hot mess, or it, like, oh, she's Catwoman. Because her goggles kind of look like ears when they're up.
But even that was, like, a total hot mess because it was so bland and it's still... Like, they were going for, like, the Eartha Kitt look from, like...
Yeah!
But it's like, you did the Eartha Kitt Catwoman in the wrong Batman franchise.
Yeah.
Because, like, it's the serious business Batman franchise and you went for Kitty Headband? Really? Like... And then, like, the only good one was Michelle Pfeiffer's badass, like, stitched up, crazy, amazing one. But, like, you can never bottle that lightning again. What I'm saying is, you know how awesome Catwoman looks in the Arkham Knight game?
She looks great.
That's the costume they should always use.
She looks, like, amazing in that.
So cool. I'm like, why didn't they use that for Batman for The Dark Knight? I guess because The Dark Knight Rises is a bad movie. Sorry, guys. The Dark Knight Rises is an actual bad movie. It's like not even, it's basically kind of like the plot of The Avengers again, because it ends almost the same way. Sorry, guys. But yeah, no. I hope somebody comes and tells me how wrong I am about Batman The Dark Knight Rises so I can tell them how wrong they are. Anyways, Christian Bale is a bad Batman anyways. But,
like, the point is that, like, because you spend all this money on getting, like, the likeness of a person in their movie, there's no money left to actually make the good game. And it's like, you can't be like, oh, we just won't get the likeness, because what's the point then?
Yeah, like, that's the whole point of, like, making a licensed game, is that you're playing the movie. Maybe that's why Assault on Butcher, or Escape from Butcher Bay is so good, because it's a first-person shooter, and you don't actually need to see Vin Diesel that much.
Also, because I'm betting Vin Diesel probably, like, was there testing it too, and he's like, I want to be cooler.
I want this game to be good, because because he's like a huge nerd. He's like the coolest guy in the entire universe, even if they won't stop making Fast and Furious movies. He's still a cool guy, but, like... Oh god, those movies are never gonna stop, man.
No, they're gonna keep making. Look out for The Fine and the Furious coming soon. No, you have to admit, The Fate of the Furious is the most creative title for anything ever.
Okay, it's actually pretty good.
Like, that's amazing.
Because I like to imagine it's the third part of the Fate Stay Night trilogy. I like to imagine it's like it's like Fate Zero.
/ Furious.
It's Fate Zero, Fate Stay Night, Fate / Furious.
Well, no, because Vin Diesel's character is a rider then.
Yeah. So Sweet Jesus, he totally is.
And his, what's it? His special is he calls his car in.
Yeah, his noble phantasm.
His noble phantasm is
he
his
calls
car.
in, like, an army of cars instead. Because, like, he's got, like, holy shit, he really is a writer, though. Because, like, the whole idea is that writers have, like, armies.
Yeah,
and, like,
he's got his crew.
He's got, like, his crew. What the fuck? Did we just fan cast Vin Diesel's character in The Fate of the Furious as a writer?
Nasu, are you listening?
Hey, Kinoko Nasu, I've got a great idea for you.
Put Vin Diesel in the next Fate series.
That is amazing. Well, listen, everybody is in Fate Grand Order, including furry Thomas Edison. So what I'm saying is we need to put Vin Diesel's character in Fate Grand Order, and I can draw him in a gotcha. Oh my god.
I am the bone of my wheel.
You have to stop. Oh
anyway.
That's kind of a licensed game. You know, if you make a Fate.
I mean, public domain is a license, I suppose.
Sure.
The point is that, like, when you get to, like, these kind of live action things where, like, you have to include the likeness of an actual human being, and, like, pay that human being to do the voice.
They usually never get them to do the voice.
Yeah.
Like, it's usually like a sound alike.
But, like, you're shooting yourself in the foot either way then, because for one thing, you don't get the actor. Okay, so why?
I don't. God, I just.
If you do get the actor, then you're just throwing money away.
You are. So either way, just don't. Just make a good, make the game good, and then work out the rest of it later.
And, like, not to say that, like, it's not necessarily a done deal, like, it's an absolute thing, but at the same time, it kind of is, because the only good, like, Spider-Man 2 is, like, the best movie-based video game of all time. It's only good because of the swinging and the scale of the city.
Right, that's it.
Everything else in that game is a disaster.
Like, the combat's really bad, and it's ugly.
The cutscenes are, like, these janky, like... You remember, like, old PS1 games where characters had to talk by, like, karate chopping their hands around because their mouths couldn't move?
Yeah, it's like
That's what it looked like. You know, their heads are bobbing up and down because they don't have mouths to talk. Like, that's what it looked like, and... The only thing anyone remembers about that game is how good the web swinging is.
And the web swinging in the game is really, really good. Yeah. But, like, that's all you really, like, when you play that game as a kid. And I guess that's why they refined it so much.
Yeah.
Because when you play that game as a kid, and that's who these games are for, of course. But, like... kids are stupid. And I'm saying this as somebody who has a lot of nieces and was once a stupid kid. Kids are dumb, and, like, they're not, like, gonna play the whole game. They're just gonna play the swingy bit. Like, the web swingy bit, you know? Like, to them, that's the coolest part, and everything else they just kind of, like, ignore. Like, I remember as a kid just sitting around doing the web swingy bit of Spider-Man 2 all the time, and just, like, I could not tell you what the rest of that game is about.
Oh, yeah, it's terrible.
Because it doesn't matter. Because, like, all that matters is how fun the web swinging is. And, like, that's it. Like, that's all that matters. But, like, it really is... Like, if you think about it, yeah, Spider-Man 2 is one of the better licensed games, and it's not that good.
It's not.
Like, it really is, like, Chronicles of Riddick, and, like, I think, surely there are others.
I mean, like, I'm trying to think of licensed games that are, like, based on a very specific product, because, like, you can find good Batman games, you can find good superhero games in general.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to think of which, like,
count,
like, which movie had a good game, or which, like, TV show or book had a good game.
If you branch out into TV shows, there's a few, like, does the X-Men beat-em-up game count? The 4-person beat-em-up game? That was...
The arcade one?
Yeah, does that count? Because it was based off the cartoon, wasn't it?
No.
No?
There wasn't one based off the cartoon? There wasn't one.
Okay.
Because the cartoon, most of those products are based off of just the 90s and 80s designs. And, like, the cartoon is also based on that. There wasn't really one based off of, like, the cartoon. Yeah.
Okay, then I guess I'm wrong there. Because, like, the X-Men 4-person beat-em-up arcade game is, like, a genuinely good game. I guess that kind of counts because that's still a license that they're drawing from.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's cheating, you know? Like, I feel like if you're saying, like, well, it just kind of draws from, like, comics, that kind of feels like cheating, because then that also means that, like, the Batman Arkham games apply, and I would not call those licensed games. They're just Batman game.
Yeah, you wouldn't put them in that category of like, we
Yeah.
gave this license to a studio and they made this game. Like, the Batman Arkham games are more like tributes to these,
Yeah.
like, to the entirety of Batman.
Yeah,
Than
they're
they
like their
are
own,
like...
they're like their own contained universe.
Yeah,
that just
exactly.
so happens to be Batman. Like, it's like the way the Batman animated series was its own contained universe. Yeah. Like, the Batman Arkham games are their own, like, world. So those don't really count. And, like, I'm trying to think of something that does count, I guess, like, but I haven't played it, so I wouldn't be able to say definitively, like, the Steven Universe phone game? Everybody says Attack the Light is good.
But that problem is, like, that's a phone game, you know?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
You always have to caveat that kind of thing with, it's good for a phone game.
Yeah, but, like, maybe when the RPG comes out,
yeah,
that'll count, right? If it's good, but it might not be good. Who knows?
Right?
I don't know anymore.
It's always just, like, so weird. And, like, it seems like giving your game to, like, a movie or, like, a live-action TV show or something like that is a fast ticket to making crap. Mm-hmm. No matter what. Even, because I just realized, I'm thinking about this, Street Fighter, one of the most beloved fighting games of all time, had a fighting game based off of its movie.
You're so right.
And, like...
it was crap.
You fucked up Street Fighter.
How did you not just re-release... how did you make a, like, Street Fighter the movie, the game... like, how did you not just, like, re-release Street Fighter 2?
How did you not just, like, take the Street Fighter 2 engine and just replace those sprites with, like, Van Damme, you know?
Yeah, ones
like,
that look like Van Damme or
just
Raul Julia or whatever.
Edit them a little bit and then just put them in the thing. Like, you don't have to try to go back to that, like, well, just copy paste it.
I mean, for real, it's fine because you have the license. You can just do that. Why not just steal wholesale from Street Fighter 2 instead of making the bad game?
And see, that's what they should do for licensed games, is wholesale rip off existing products.
Other good games.
I've said this over and over again. The best Iron Man game in existence is called Zone of the Enders 2.
You're right.
Because that's exactly how it should play. You lock onto an enemy, you charge a beam, you fire the beam at the thing, you lock onto another enemy, you have a ton of different weapons and guns to play with. It's fast, you're dashing around in midair. That's how it should play.
Yeah.
Rip that off.
Rip that off.
Get Platinum to make the Spider-Man game, okay? Platinum has made games with wall running. It's made games with combo systems.
Didn't Platinum make a Korra game?
Platinum made the Korra game, yeah.
Did it ever come out?
It was alright.
So, like, even then, I don't even think Platinum can do it. I think licensed games are just cursed, you know? Like, they're just, maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's like an ancient curse from beyond time. And it's like, if thee shall try to make a licensed video game, no matter what you do, you're gonna fail. Because I think it's just that, like, TV licenses and movie licenses and whatever are just too restrictive. You've got to keep it into a certain look, you've got to keep it in a certain world, but you can never go too far from the story of the movie, because, like, then it still has to be... like, in the case of, like, the Korra game, I didn't play it, but the idea is, like, you can't affect the story too much.
It has to be in between seasons, because you can't do anything that will directly affect the plot of the show.
Which means it's kind of pointless.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing, like... It can never be anything of nothing
merit, yeah.
Nothing that matters can happen, because otherwise then you've kind of created this thing where your game, like, for you to enjoy the show, you've got to go play this game, and not everybody's gonna have a game system.
Yeah,
you know, like,
I don't know what it is, because, like, they can get the license to a company and have them make a good game, and I don't know. It's like a lot of these things. It's like the studio that makes the original product. They've got the money. They've got loads of money.
But they don't care. And
that's really what it boils down to, is they don't care about what they're doing. About like
to them it doesn't matter. Would you not?
It's the exact same thing as, like, of of getting the businessman into the studio.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, which is the part that will make me the most dollars?
Like, that's all that really... I mean, that's all that these games are, is just, like, shameless cash grabs at the end of the day. So, like, no, they don't actually have to be good as long as they get bought, because, like, the way the industry is set up now, like, with games, like, GameStop and stuff, you can't return an opened video game.
Yeah.
You know? Like, so... You buy the game, they got their money, and you got fucked. You know,
Yeah.
all you can do is trade the game in, and that technically makes GameStop more money, because they can turn around and resell the game and make their dollars back.
Now, what is kind of interesting is that there's like a trending chart you can kind of pick up with like licensed products like that.
Mm-hmm.
And like they really got into like the like for in the NES and SNES era, that you wouldn't find like a game that dipped too far into the quality dungeon.
Yeah.
Cause like, for one thing, you didn't have to worry about licensing for like licensing a character's likeness.
Yeah.
Because they're gonna be sprite based, and you're not gonna do the work to like mocap a human being into it, when you can just draw a picture of them, and that's what the character will look like.
Right.
We really only got into like the bad licensed games
When we hit 3D.
Yeah, when we hit like the PS1, PS2 era.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when we got like crap like Catwoman.
And I know, if you think about it too, that is true, because like I was just thinking, you were playing on, like, when we were test streaming a few days ago, we couldn't make it work.
Yeah.
You were playing the Aladdin game, and like those were good like
Yeah.
Aladdin and The Lion King and DuckTales
Yeah.
were all really good games, because they were just... They didn't have to be about anything. They just needed to have the cartoon characters in them and be kind of fun, you know?
And because back then, we didn't have the, like, glut of studios.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know who made the Aladdin game for the Genesis?
No.
Capcom.
Oh! Huh.
You know, like,
Yeah.
they get, like, really good studio. Like, Capcom made all the Marvel games.
Yeah.
Like, all the like, X-Men, Mutant Apocalypse game we played was Capcom. Capcom made all the fighting games.
Yeah.
They made Marvel Superhero War of Infinity. Like, Capcom was behind all those, and, like, I think Capcom even made Lion King.
They probably did if they had the contract to make, and I don't know.
Yeah.
But I mean, if they had the contract to make Aladdin, that means they probably had the contract to make The Lion King as well. And like both of those games are like genuinely good, fun games, because they don't have to have a plot. They don't have to make any sense. You're just kind doing levels.
You have to like vaguely follow the beats of the movie.
Yeah.
And like, but like, there's no cutscenes to like get in the way. So
yeah,
he goes to Agrabah and he jumps on bad guys, and then he goes into the Cave of Wonders, and he can
jumps
jump
on bad guys.
He can like jump through lava and stuff, and like that wasn't really in the movie, but it doesn't matter back then.
Because, like, it didn't matter as long as it looked good, and those games still look great. Like,
yeah, they do.
Like, the sprites have held up really well.
The Aladdin Genesis game was animated by Disney Studios. The
Really?
sprite work was done by Disney animators.
Wow.
So,
That is
like,
amazing.
they went all out with that.
So they looked amazing. I mean, yeah, the Lion King game to this day has held up really well, because it's really, like, colorful and pretty, and all the sprite work is very, like, clean, and everything is easy to, like, identify, and everybody remembers the level where you jump on the giraffe's head.
Yeah.
Because, like, everybody played that level.
Because everyone got
kids.
stuck on that level.
Yeah, pretty much. And, like, those games were, like, genuinely fun, because they didn't have to be anything but fun. Like, we didn't expect anything out of them. And then, like, the idea was, like, well, we can recreate the movie in, like, 3D. And, like, basically what I'm saying is 3D gaming ruined licensed games.
Because by that point, the industry had not only recovered from the crash, and it was finding its feet, it had this whole new generation, and everyone wanted to try it. And because of that, like video games had finally, like, quote-unquote grown up to not being, like, a just for kids kind of thing anymore.
Yeah.
So now you have these adults who are like, well, we can make video games aimed at a different audience.
And it just never works.
Yeah, so all these minor studios pop up trying to get in on 3D, and they're handling systems they've never touched before. And that's when we started getting, like, the really, really bad movie tie-ins.
Yeah, because it's like, you can't... I mean, you just can't turn a movie into a video game. It doesn't work that way, because, like, movies are something completely different. They're contained stories that take 2 hours. If your game takes 2 hours to complete, you've got a bad video game.
Yeah.
Sorry, unless it's, like, a $5 indie game or something. Like, if your game takes 2 hours, whoops, you made a bad game. Like, there's only, like, I guess Star Wars had good licensed games, 3D licensed games.
And Star Wars is, like, a really good example of, like, it's super hit or miss with Star Wars.
Oh my god, like that fighting game? Holy shit.
Yeah!
We could talk forever just about, I mean, we could probably make a whole podcast just out of bad Star Wars games, because there are a lot of them. But like the one that mostly comes to mind is definitely the horrible Star Wars fighting game.
That 3D one, that like Tekken-based one.
Oh my god, it was so bad. Like, everybody fought the same, and like there were no lightsabers. It was still punching. So it's like Darth Vader punching a guy in the face. Yeah, I know. It makes no fucking sense.
And then at the same time, you get stuff like these Super Star Wars games for the SNES, which were like really hard, but they were fun.
And you get really crazy things like Star Wars Bounty Hunter, which was like an okay game, but a cool concept. And like the
like KOTOR.
KOTOR, like, does KOTOR count?
I mean, it's a Star Wars game.
Yeah, I guess so. It counts. It's kind of like the Batman. It's kind of like the Arkham series, where KOTOR 1 and 2 almost feel like their own self-contained world, because they happen so far in the past.
Yeah.
They're like 3,000 years in the past before any of the movies.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, those don't feel the same. Like, I don't know if those, like, feel the same way, because they're kind of like the Batman games, where they just kind of do their own thing, you know? But, like, I don't know if they count or not, but I think they kind of count.
Yeah, I mean, they're using a product that exists outside of video games, so I mean, I guess they do absolutely count.
What is that? Hold on, I just had it pulled up. That one Star Wars game name that you played as stormtroopers. Hold on, wait.
Like Battlefront?
Republic Commando.
Yes,
was
that one.
Weirdly awesome. You played as stormtroopers like during the Clone War, and it was very Rainbow Six, where you had control over a squad.
You had like a team, and
and it was an FPS, and it was like actually really good, and it was such a weird idea to play as a clone troopers. But it was like they kind of, like I said, they took the idea of a Rainbow Six game, and they applied it to Stormtrooper or to Clone Troopers during the Clone Wars, and it actually worked out as a concept really, really well, because it was like something different. It wasn't just Jedi. You were playing as like these shooty bangs guys, but in like a Star Wars world.
And that's really what, like, a lot of what it boils down to as well, is that like these licensed games are so afraid to do anything different.
I know.
Like, when you're playing, for example, like, just because they're like the ones that come to me to mind, like the Iron Man or the Captain America game for the Wii. It's Chris Evans Captain America, it's Robert Downey Jr. Iron Man. You're in the movie universe.
Yeah. And
they don't do anything different from the movies.
Right.
Meanwhile, you look at stuff like Arkham or like Republic Commando, where like the Arkham games are doing this giant amalgamation of everything Batman is. He doesn't look like Christopher Nolan or whatever.
Christian Bale.
Christian Bale.
I got you.
He doesn't look like Christian Bale. He doesn't look like Adam West. Yeah, George Clooney. You know, he doesn't. He's voiced by Kevin Conroy, but that's only because the fandom all knows that Kevin Conroy is the voice of Batman.
He's Batman.
You know?
Like, everybody acknowledges that is Batman.
Like, everyone else got different voices, but they knew that Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill need to be Batman and the Joker, because that's what everyone knows, and that's like, that's the cool thing. And like, they crammed these games with references to all sorts of universes and all sorts of like different things, and they were not afraid to create something out of this. And same with Republic Commando, where it's like, we're not going to do the story of Anakin or of Luke. We're not going to make it based on Han Solo. You're going to play as clone troopers. Yeah. They're going to be a completely side story, unrelated from everything in the movies.
Yeah, it's really smart, because it let you do something and let you see a different side of the world. It's kind of the same way that Rogue One was so successful, was because it takes you away from like this, like the overarching theme of the Jedi.
You're so far away from the Skywalkers. Yeah. That's what it is. Like, there's no Skywalkers in Rogue One.
Yeah, exactly. There are no Skywalkers involved, and that's what you want, because you want to, like, especially worlds like the superhero worlds and Star Wars and stuff like that, you want to see like the backstories of these worlds that is more than just the main story, because these worlds are so big and so involved that you want to know what else is going on in them, and you want to see just like what the stories are getting told, because there's so much here to really sink your teeth into.
Yeah.
And it's like you could do that with any like superhero licensed game, and you just choose not to, because honestly at the end of the day it's easier to just make a quick buck.
It's so much easier. And like that's what really baffles me, is that there was not an Avengers game.
Like a good Avenger. Now they're talking about, Square Enix is talking about making one with the Deus Ex team, which could either be amazing or terrible.
But like you'd think, like out of all of the merchandising that Marvel shoved out the door for the Avengers movie, there was not a 3DS game.
What boggles the mind is that they haven't made like a Captain America game that has the same quality as the Arkham Knight game.
Right, yeah.
Like where it's like you play as like one of the superheroes. I'm saying Captain America because he's kind of like the most down to earth.
Yeah, he's the punchy guy.
He's the punchy guy, so it's kind of easiest to play as and to have like, that's an easy power set.
Yeah.
And to just have him interact with, like, the video game version of the Marvel Universe the way that Batman interacts with, like, the video game version of the DC Universe. I don't understand how that hasn't happened yet, because, like, if anybody's got the money to make a good-ass, like, Marvel video game universe, it's Disney.
It's Disney. Yeah, without a doubt.
Like, yeah.
It's this weird thing where, like, again, you have the disparity of, like, Warner Brothers is good at one thing, and Marvel or Disney's bad at that thing. Like, Warner Brothers makes all the good DC cartoons, and Marvel suck. Like, Marvel makes all the good movies, and DC suck. All the DC like the Batman games are really good, and there haven't been like a really good Marvel game in years.
And I guess now there is like the now didn't they announce something else too? Like they announced that they were making the Avengers game.
There's the Avengers game coming out from Square Enix team.
Right.
Or the Deus Ex team. And the Guardians of the Galaxy Telltale game is out.
Okay. Oh, Telltale?
Yeah.
Fuck, who gives a shit?
Right?
Telltale doesn't count. That's bullshit. Like, that's not a video game. Go play a visual novel, you fucking losers.
Like, it was... They captured lightning in a bottle with The Walking Dead. Like, Telltale's a perfect example of licensed products going wrong.
Who cares about any of Telltale's games?
Right?
They're not games.
The Walking Dead was a phenomenal story.
Season 1.
Season 1 was great. And then they've been trying so hard to capture that for everything. But every time they create, like, a new world, you like, after beating The Walking Dead 1... The illusion was ruined, and you could see behind the curtain, and you could see just how little your choice you had in the matter, and the ultimate outcome of the game. The worst of them all was the Game of Thrones one.
Oh yeah,
because
nothing matters.
Your characters are gonna die.
They're
all gonna die. It's Game of Thrones,
right?
You know, I don't know what they were thinking. Like, can you imagine? Like, talking to Cersei and thinking whatever you say is going to matter to her? Right?
Yeah, like how... Like, no, God, Telltale games are the worst. Like, I swear to God, these people, like, who are... This is getting off on a tangent, but whatever. Like, that's what we do around here.
Yeah.
It's like, people who are big Mass Effect fans and they just want to... But they're only there for the dating. Or people who want, like, choicey games, like Telltale games and stuff. Like, they all play these shitty games, and I'm like, go pick up a visual novel sometime, you fucking nerd.
If you want to make choices...
That actually, because, like, yeah, sure, you'll get a lot of bad ends, but those bad ends are all written out. Like, Fate Stay Night has, like, 60 bad ends, but they all have different, they're all written out, and they're all, like, really, a lot of them are really involved. Like I told you the other day to go read Sparksliner High, which is like the bad end for Heaven's Field.
Yeah.
It's a 30-minute long bad end.
God.
Like it's like a full, like it tells the full story of like one bad ending for Heaven's Field that is like a legit conclusion that feels like it's like fucked up, but it feels like an actual, like, you made a choice, and it's showing you the full fallout of those choices, and those choices actually matter, because, like, It's 30 whole minutes.
Yeah, it's a 30-minute thing.
And it's one of the best endings in Fate Stay Night. You understand? Like, yeah, it's a bad end, but I'm, like, sitting up to tell you this now. Like, they don't know this on this. So, like, I have to stand up because I'm so, like, enthusiastic about Sparksliner High. Like, Sparksliner High is one of the coolest endings in Fate Stay Night because it is so well written. You're like, what happened to Nasu? Like, who are you? And, like, are you Kinoko Nasu? Like, oh my god. So what I'm saying is, like, don't go play your shitty Telltale games where nothing changes. Like, yeah, okay, technically nothing changes in, like, Fate Stay Night and, like, Tsukihime and all these others. But you get to see, the real consequences of your actions and, like, there's, like, genuine fail states, and you have to have, like, multiple saves. A
30-minute ending sequence is not a game over sequence.
Right.
That's just you got the bad ending.
You got an alternate ending that's, like, a not ideal. And even then, Fate Stay Night has, for all 3 routes, has perfect routes that are, like, genuinely different. Like, perfect ends and good ends that are, like, totally different based off the choices you made. What I'm saying is, don't go play Telltale games. Go get your weeb on and play a fucking visual novel. Because, like, that shit actually matters. And yeah, it's really hard to find a lot of visual novels because, like, they're not getting translated. Although they are getting translated more because
they're getting more and more.
Because they actually.
Because they're
speaking of licensed games, I can do this. I know everybody in this one is doomed because it's set between episodes or something like that. Anyways, the Psycho-Pass visual novel.
Oh boy.
Got translated. But I heard it's actually good. Like, it's called Mandatory Happiness, and, like, yeah, I haven't played it yet, but, like, it's a licensed visual novel that's out for the PS Vita and PS4, and, like, despite the fact that you're playing, like, a mid-quill kind of game, where, like, you get to pick one of 2 investigators, who are not in season 2, so really there's only...
they're probably going to be dead.
They're almost certainly doomed. Like, I heard those are really good. like, I really want to play them, and that actually, yes, I managed to bring it around and make it
brought
count.
It back.
Yes, high five! I made it count! I brought it back around. I heard that...
Okay, let's do that again.
Yeah. There we go. That's a proper high five. Yeah. I actually managed to bring it around, and because, like, Mandatory Happiness is allegedly,
yeah.
I haven't played it myself because I haven't had the time because Persona 5 happened really, really hard. I heard it's really good, so I actually want to, like, sit down and play that one at some point because, like, yeah, licensed visual novels. Honestly, I feel like visual novels are more of a game than Telltale games are a game.
Well, the problem with Telltale games, like, visual novels, again, like, it's kind of hard to categorize them because it's mostly just a choose your own adventure book. That's just, it's on a screen.
But that's what a Telltale game is too.
Yeah, but, like, Telltale, like, a visual novel gives you, like, options all the time. And Telltale games are also trying to be, like, really limp adventure puzzle games where it's like, how do you get this crank to work? You know that kind of, like, pick up its in your inventory and slot them into things. And it's so like, but, like, it's also weak.
Yeah.
That it's like, well, it's not even really a challenge.
Right.
You know, there's visual novels on one end of the spectrum, and there's Monkey Island, on the other end.
And at the very dead center is Telltale.
And the barren wasteland between them is Telltale. Where it's like, nothing I do matters, there's only one solution to this puzzle, all the items are in this room.
Right.
Like...
Yeah. How did we get off on this tangent?
Because we were talking about Cat Marvel licensing out games and how they're doing the Guardians game.
Oh, right.
Which, the Guardians game should be like the Guardians game should be an 80s style sprite-based beat-em-up.
That is the best idea you've ever said to me.
With, like, weird monsters that you fight, and you can pick as Star-Lord, Gamora, Drax, or Groot, and you call in Rocket as a striker,
Yeah.
You pick up the Rocket icon, and he swoops in and drops, bombs on the area.
Right, or like the other way around, since it's Guardians of the Galaxy 2, you could play as Rocket and have like Baby Groot be like an item to use. Like, I don't know, other than, you did just remind me, 80s style 4-person beat 'em up game, that's another good licensed game. Scott Pilgrim.
Yes, the Scott Pilgrim game. Because again, it wasn't based exactly on the movie. Exactly. It wasn't based exactly on the comic. It was a separate entity that was not it hit the basic, most like decent beats of the story.
Right.
But it wasn't afraid to do a different thing with them.
Right.
You know?
And it had some damn good Anamanaguchi music.
Oh, yeah. And it got, what's his name? Ryan Paulson, I think?
Yeah, the one who does that really good sprite work.
Yeah, weird, like, kind of creepy, sexy sprite work.
Yeah, like really cool, like, has, like, a good, like, sense of weight and balance to it. Yeah, he does great sprite work. He did the sprite work. This is off topic again, but whatever. We should have, we should keep a diversion or like a tangent counter every time I do a podcast. We should it should ding in the background every time we go off on a tangent. Anyways, he animated an episode of Gravity Falls.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he
Which
did.
Was really
with
good.
The episode with
the fighting game guy.
That one and
the dating girl.
Yeah, speaking of visual novels, the dating sim girl.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's his face? Susan the Real Girl is what they call it. And yeah, man, basically Scott Pilgrim totally counts.
It was a super good licensed game.
It's a 4-person beat 'em up. That's all you oh my god. So many games should just be 4-person beat 'em ups.
It's I made a big not a big thing, but a small thing on Twitter because I was thinking about that. The Defenders game should be a 4-player 90s Final Fight Streets of Rage style beat 'em up.
Yeah, why can't we bring that format of video game back? Because it's so good, they don't make them anymore.
Not just bring it back, but bring it back really well.
Bring it back super hard.
This is, in this era of we want to make Mega Man, right. Or we want to make the next Mario Brothers 8-bit style scrolling game.
Yeah.
The side-scrolling beat 'em up is a genre that has never really taken off after the 90s.
Right.
You've had Dragon's Crown and you've had Scott Pilgrim and you've had a few here and there.
Right.
But nothing that really fully nothing like a slam dunk Shovel Knight was.
How can't we're more games like Marvel Ultimate Alliance?
Yeah.
Which are good games too.
The Marvel Cinematic Universe at this point has enough heroes
to
make a 4-player squad-based isometric beat 'em up style game.
Right, and it would be awesome because Ultimate Alliance has so many badass combo attacks and stuff.
I spent $90 to get the limited edition, the gold edition of Ultimate Alliance because the DLC isn't available anymore.
Right.
And just like Batman, the Ultimate Alliance and the Marvel Legends games, again, they're not based on an existing version of those characters. It's a big amalgamation of just Captain America is just, he's all the Captain Americas at once.
Right.
It's so all these characters combined, they look like the ultimate versions of these characters, but they're not. They're their own separate entity, and they're not afraid to just do weird things with these characters and have them all stand out and be the best parts of those characters.
And it's such a shame that they discontinued that franchise. And it was a good franchise. It was successful and it was fun.
You had X-Men Legends, you had X-Men Legends 2, then Marvel Ultimate Alliance and Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2. Mm-hmm. And at this point in both in the comics and in the movies, you have so many new unique heroes that you can put into a game.
Yeah, exactly. The new Miss Marvel and all of the new versions of heroes and stuff. You could put them in a new Ultimate Alliance game and it would be the coolest thing ever.
It would sell.
It would
so sell.
Because people still love Marvel games and they still love Marvel heroes, obviously, because people keep going to see these movies. Yeah. It would be so easy to do this and make money off of it. And you can make it good. It just needs to be that 4-player, put it on and because people are still obsessed with online multiplayer, put the whole thing online.
Yeah.
And or have it be where you can play it with 4 controllers at home, old-fashioned style, or have a waiting lobby on the internet where you can just get with your friends and play it on the internet together. And it would be so easy and so fun. So simple.
What we're seeing is that, for one thing, we've fortunately kind of seen like the downfall of crappy licensed movie-based games, because like after the PS3 era, Xbox 360 PS3 era, like
we haven't really seen them, have we?
They've really fallen off.
Because I guess they realize it's just not a money maker anymore.
And like a lot of these smaller studios again are losing the ability to stay in business because the industry's kind of like it's for the better this time that studios are closing, because the amount of work that goes into games now needs to be at a certain level with the technology available. What they need to do is, because like you mentioned, the Scott Pilgrim game, they need to give these games to indie developers.
Yeah, I agree.
Because indie developers will see that money coming in and they'll care.
Yeah, they'll make. I mean, you don't need to send it off to some like terrible faceless entity that's just gonna make a bad game that's just gonna sell a few 100,000 copies and a few thousand copies in the first week, and then word of mouth gets it, and by then they've already made their money after word of mouth gets around. But like
Marvel or DC or like any of these big, like Star Wars, they don't need to be AAA games.
No, they
because
just need to
they're
be good.
going to sell regardless.
Although I do want another Knights of the Old Republic.
Well, yeah, but like they don't need.
But then again, no, I don't want a new Knights of the Old Republic because I don't think modern BioWare could do it.
Not modern BioWare, no.
No, modern BioWare would fuck it up because they can't even make like their money machine, Andromeda. They can't even make Andromeda into a good video game. I take that back. I don't want another Knights of the Old Republic because they fuck it up. Yeah. So like, nope.
Give these licenses, not even the movie licenses. Just give the characters out to an indie studio. Have them release a game onto the PSN or the Xbox Live Arcade.
Yeah. And make it good.
And you will make your money back tenfold.
Because it's just like...
Because they'll see that and they'll say, oh, it's a Spider-Man game for $20 and I can just download it.
And it's a good Spider-Man game.
It's a beat 'em up, Okay, well, that's good. That's what I wanted. I just wanted a simple game. I don't need to get Andrew Garfield or Tom Holland or Tobey Maguire's face in it.
Right.
The truth is, the people who are actually going to buy the video games don't give a shit that the actor is in it, okay?
Right.
The only time it's ever mattered is when Hideo Kojima does it, okay? That's the only time anyone has cared. And the distinction is, like we've talked about, the distinction is that, like, Hideo Kojima isn't being like, we're getting Tobey Maguire to record the dialogue for the Spider-Man game. Right. Like, he's cast, like, Norman Reedus in the game.
Because he just likes Norman Reedus.
Yeah.
Like, he's a crazy person.
He's mocap Norman Reedus' face onto this character. He's not it's not like, oh, we got this actor to do the voice because he's from the show.
Right.
Like, it's a whole separate entity that he's just casting actors to be in his game.
Right, exactly. It's a different beast entirely, which is hilarious. So,
the audience won't care that the guy, won't care that Christian Bale is Batman. Right. They don't give a shit.
Because you don't want to see him without the mask on anyways. Who gives a shit?
It's also the same point problem I have, like, with early superhero movies, is that, like, why didn't Hugh Jackman ever put on the classic yellow and blue outfit? Right. Because it has a mask. Right. And you can't not show his face.
Because it's Hugh Jackman and you spend a lot of money on that face.
Go watch the first 3 Spider-Man movies. Yeah. And, like, look at all the times that, like, his mask gets knocked off or, like, he needs to take it off to breathe.
Yeah.
Like, because you gotta show that face. That's why the Deadpool movie is so good, is because even when Ryan Reynolds isn't wearing it, his face is all scarred up. Right. So, like...
Because, like, Ryan Reynolds actually gives a shit. Yeah. Even though the Deadpool game is actually not that good either.
Yeah, but he didn't have anything to do with that. But, like, again, the Deadpool game should have been a sure shot. It should have been a slam dunk, because it's so... Everything you need is already there.
Because it's so self-aware, too. Like, it's easy to make a Deadpool game because you can give it all, like, the cheesy, shitty trappings of a video game. And, like... have Deadpool comment on it. Yeah. It's not hard. Like, this
all you need to do is just have, like, decent gameplay, and, like, the flavor will more than make up for it.
Right. Like, as long as it plays good and, like, you kind of understand the characters and have Deadpool kind of making fun of, like, tutorials and stuff like that, or being aware of the fact that he's in a video game. Bam!
You're done. You made a
good Deadpool game. Congratulations, you did it.
And they still managed to fuck that up.
Even with all of like the cool promotional material that they put out for Deadpool for like weeks and weeks and weeks, they still managed to fuck it up. Like, why can't Marvel has so much money now?
They've got Disney money.
They've got Disney money. They have the best-selling superhero franchise in movie history money. They've got that going for them, and they can't get it right. I don't understand.
All their other products are slam dunks.
Except for their cartoons.
Yeah, except for their cartoons. But, like, all their, like, merchandising and all of their promotional stuff is all, like, the best it can ever be. And they can't get their video games down.
And I don't understand.
They're still depending on Capcom to make their good games.
Yeah, pretty much. Because, like, Marvel vs. Capcom is, like, their only, like, really slam dunk game right now. Like,
yeah. Like, I'm looking... If you look at my shelf, I have like, the 3 or 4 Spider-Man games for the Xbox 360 that came out.
Uh-huh. None of them are that great.
One of them, like, Edge of Time over there, came out around only the same week as Arkham City came out. And, like, I love Spider-Man.
Right.
He's my favorite superhero of all time.
Right.
It doesn't stand a chance to Arkham City.
No, because, like, the Batman games are genuinely good games because they're just doing their own thing.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need to make... The mistake that people make these days, or made back in the day, and, like, we're just only now getting over it, you don't need to make a game that comes out at the exact same time as the movie.
Yeah.
You just need, if the movie is good and, like, sells well, and of course Marvel games are going to be good and sell well, or movies.
Yeah.
Are going, because that's just Marvel now. Marvel just has total cultural dominance, and that's a creepy thing that I'll talk about another time.
Later.
Because it gives me the creeps. But they have total cultural dominance, so you know that it's going to be a hit. You know it's going to be good. Like, so you don't need to put out a game immediately. You just need to put out a good Marvel Universe game.
Yeah.
If you build it, they will come.
The problem is, like, the Marvel Universe itself as a core is timeless.
Yeah.
You can put out games whenever you want. You just don't make them based on the movies.
Yeah, just make them good.
Because the problem is, the common audience doesn't see Captain America and say, oh, it is Chris Evans from the Captain America movie. I shall buy the game.
Yeah.
They'll say, oh, it is Captain America, like that movie I saw.
I'm going to buy the game.
They don't care that it looks like the actor. They don't care that it's based on the movie. They like there is a big bulky muscle man in red and blue, and he has a shield, and he will punch the Nazis.
Right.
That's all that they care about.
Yeah, I know.
Marvel seems to, like, treat its fan base as, like, I'll be honest, more intelligent and more, like, obsessed than they actually are.
Yeah.
Like,
it doesn't need to be that complicated. Just make a cool Marvel video game universe. The way Arkham has made a cool Batman video game universe, you know?
Hire Rocksteady.
It's not...
Because, like, I don't think they're loyal to WB.
I don't think so, anyway.
Hire them to take the Arkham engine and throw it onto Daredevil. Or throw it onto Spider-Man. Or throw it onto Captain America.
Well, Insomniac is making a Spider-Man game.
That's true.
And God willing, it'll be good.
That, like... And you know why it looks good? Because from everything, from his costume to the setting and everything, it's not based on the movies. Right. It's not based on the cartoon. It's not based on anything. It is a fully unique, idealized universe.
Right, it's just like a unique, individual Spider-Man video game universe. That's all you need. If Marvel was smart, they would springboard, the way they did with, like, the way they took Iron Man and then springboarded the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe off of Iron Man. Like, because everything went up around Iron Man. They would take this Insomniac Spider-Man game and springboard an entire universe of video games off the Insomniac.
And, like, for one thing, I trust Insomniac because the Ratchet & Clank games have always been stellar. They always put out quality products, you know?
Yeah.
And if you're absolutely right. If this ends up, like, I'm getting shivers about it right now already.
I know, right?
If they're like, the Spider-Man game sold well, Insomniac, here are the X-Men.
Here's all...
Yeah, here's Captain America. Can you catch lightning twice?
Yeah. Like, that is the ideal of just, like, having, like, 2 or 3 good studios in charge of just, like, consistently every 2 years, every 3 years maybe, putting out a good Marvel Universe game.
And, like, the Spider-Man game that's coming out soon, it's not on the heels of the movie.
No.
It's, like, even if it is its own separate universe, it was announced before Spider-Man was in Civil War.
Yeah, exactly.
They're just like, hey, Spider-Man game's coming out.
We're just gonna make one because we understand that, hey, Marvel is huge right now, and you don't need to actually have a movie attached to your, like, licensed game anymore to make a successful superhero game. You don't actually need to have a movie attached to it. Because obviously, the Batman series has proven they haven't put out good Batman movies since The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
And, like, the Arkham games still make good games.
Oh, they crushed every, like, review, every
crazy.
award ceremony was just Arkham.
Because it's good.
Yeah. And, like, what we're seeing lately with, like, the PS4, Xbox One, and Switch era is that we're caring less and less about delays.
Yeah.
Because back in the early days, we didn't care about delays at all because we didn't know that delays existed because we didn't have the internet. And when the internet happened around, like, the PS2, PS3 era, we really cared about delays.
Right.
Because we got the news now, and we're like, wait a minute, what? It's not coming out till next year now? What are you doing?
Yeah.
But with Persona 5, like, it sucked that we had to wait this long.
But at the same time, we both went like, oh good, more time to play other video games.
But, like, when it came out, were you like, oh, I wish it came out last year? Like, no. You're like, okay, I get to play it now. Cool,
it's out now, and it's a good game, and if the delays meant that it would become a better game, then that's all I'm asking.
Yeah, like, when it comes out and it's in my hands, I'm not like, oh, well, I'm mad because it didn't come out in time.
I think it's just because, like, delays and knowing about delays have become such a part of, like, video game life.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you're going to expect it now.
Like, everybody expects it now. Because, like, most of the time, a game is good because somebody took a step back from the beta, and they saw the release date, and they went, we're not going to be able to make a good game by the time this game goes gold, we'll push it back. And, like, normal people these days understand that. They're like, push it back 3 months.
You know? And so it's like, you don't need to release licensed products, like, on the heels of whatever.
Yeah, just make a good game. That's really all that matters, is just make a good game based around the license. It doesn't necessarily need to be, like, a game coming out at the same time as Guardians of the Galaxy 2 or whatever. It just needs to have, like, these things are so popular now that they just need to come out.
You know, it's like Task mentioned it on the Twitter. Like, he talks about that, like, Marvel made an entire cinematic universe off of basically nobodies.
Yeah.
Before the Iron Man movie came out, the top two sellers for Marvel were X-Men and Spider-Man.
Yeah, and they didn't
Iron Man was a B-lister.
Yeah.
Like, 10, 12 years ago, Iron Man didn't matter.
Right.
And they're like, here's the Iron Man movie, and he's the one... Like, the Avengers weren't even that popular back then.
Yeah.
So, like, all these, like, franchises and stuff like this are, like, timeless. So you don't need to wait until, like, the thing happens. You can just put it out.
Maybe the new Spider-Man movie will make that a reality. I don't know. New Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, the Spider-Man game.
New Spider-Man game. Like, I don't know. I'm really hoping for that because I think a good superhero, Marvel superhero, like, universe game series is coming. Like, Disney would be a fool to not take advantage of it because game sales are still, like, massive.
It's like a category of, like, game development that, like, hasn't been filled yet, you know?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
The idea of, like, superhero games is, like, on the big map of, like, video game products, like, a group of quality superhero games it's not there.
Yeah, there's, like, only a few, and it's mostly Arkham.
Yeah.
You know? Like, that's kind of it. Like, I don't know if I'd call the Injustice games, like, good games.
I mean,
they're okay.
They're solid fighting games, but they don't even match up to, like, Mortal Kombat or to, like, Marvel vs. Capcom.
Yeah. It's kind of like, it shouldn't be this hard when you have that much money.
Yeah, what it boils down to is that licensed games in general is, like, it shouldn't be this hard to make a good licensed game.
And they almost overcomplicate it.
When you have, like, a movie or a show or a game or whatever that's, like, it's this really cool, like, action series. And the movie might be incredible. You know? But, like, when you have a movie like that and you have like characters that have powers or have abilities, it shouldn't be this hard to make a game that's actually fun to play to go along with it. And it's the same reason, like, I always get like confused and be like, oh, I can't wait till this game gets a movie.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm like, the exact opposite is true.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be good. Like, people are like, oh, I can't wait for the Last of Us movie. Why?
Why? It's bad.
The Last of Us game is a really good story already. If you want that, just play the game again.
Because, like, you can't condense... We should talk about that at some point, too. You can't condense the amount of plot that is in a video game, which is several hours, which is, 4, 5, 6, 7 hours.
Up to, like a standard game, like... A standard short game is like 10 hours these days. You
can't compress that into a 2.5 hours is pushing it.
Yeah,
really,
that's a long movie.
It's really more like you have 2 hours to tell the same story that a video game has like 10 to tell, 12 to tell. You can't do it, which is why video game movies are always, without fail, there has never been a good one.
Yeah.
Ever.
They're just straight up, there hasn't been one.
There's like so bad it's good,
yeah,
like Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter are just like, I will be entertained by them, but I won't say they're good movies.
Yeah, but they're not like...
If I want to see Van Damme try to do American accent, that's hilarious to me.
Yeah, you want to see a French guy play the Japanese god of thunder.
Yeah.
For sure. Then you definitely go watch Mortal Kombat. Otherwise,
but they're not good.
They're not good.
And,
Mortal Kombat actually has some decent fight scenes.
Yeah.
But like as a movie, it's not very good.
And the difference between that is that when you're adapting a game to a film, you lose the interactivity part of it.
Yeah, so you're losing, because, let's be real, most video games have bad stories. Most video games are not very good stories, because, what makes video games good is the interactivity. So if you take away the interactivity, you're just kind of left with, like, an okay story, and usually being directed by some idiot, you know, who doesn't understand the franchise. So
when you see, like, I'm just going to take a hypothetical as this one. If you watch Die Hard, for instance, Die Hard, as a setup, could be a good video game. Yeah. You're a guy, you have to go from the bottom floor to the top floor, and you have to beat up dudes along the way and, like, pick up their weapons and, swap weapons. That's a standard brawler or first-person shooter or whatever.
Yeah, it could be good.
But, like, the idea of, like, adapting that now is ridiculous. Yeah. Because what you really want out of that is you don't want a Die Hard game. Yeah. You want a game that's kind of Die Hard-ish. Yeah. You want a game where you play as a beat-up cop who fights guys and, like, fights henchmen with his fists and, like, climbs a tower. Right, yeah. Like, you don't want to play as John McClane. You just want to play a game that's kind of like that. That makes you feel like John McClane. Yeah. You don't necessarily want to be John McClane, because who cares, Like, most people understand you can't make Die Hard into a good video game, but you can take the idea of Die Hard and kind of twist it around and make it into... Because, like, the idea of, like, climb a tower, fight the bad dudes, is a cool idea, but it doesn't, like, hold its weight without some changes to, like, be a good video game. Or like The Raid, or John Wick. Oh my god, The Raid is so good. Yes. Like The Raid or John Wick would be great concepts for video games. Right. You know? Like, I don't want to play as Keanu Reeves shooting guys, because I've already played Enter the Matrix, and that was not a good game either. Oh, God. We're always remembering new bad video games. The list is endless. There's endless. Endless trash! Fuck you, it's forever! And it never ends with licensed games. Red Letter Media thinks they have it bad. We've been having crappy licensed products every year for eternity. It never ends. Not since it literally never ends. You'd think E.T. would have made us learn our lesson, but clearly not. No. You'd think people would be like, maybe. I'm beginning to think bad licensed games are a curse put upon us by the E.T. I wonder if it's like the E.T. cartridges themselves got mad that we buried them out in a desert, and so they cursed all licensed games. It's your fault. It's you fault. Own one. I own one, yeah. This is why your life is so sad.
This is why you have a bad life, is because you have this in your home.
Yep.
You actually brought the devil into your home.
I invited him in, and it cost me $3.
You invited the devil into your home, Benjamin. And
Sarah's holding my copy of E.T. for the Atari 2600.
I actually feel like my soul becoming
Doesn't it even,
clouded.
feel weird to hold in your hand?
Yeah, for one, I didn't realize that
They
put
loaded
it in,
so weird. Yeah.
or that you put it in upside down.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotta admit, I've never played 2600 in my life. How did they...
I think they're top loaders. They were top loaders.
So the cartridge was in upside down?
Yeah. So that dust gets in the pins up here, and then the game breaks forever. When you have it on your shelf standing up so you can see the label, the dust will just fall right into the pins and corrode it.
It's perfect.
Forever. Perfect.
Forever.
Yeah.
Thanks. Great video game. Great design, Atari.
Anyway, the point is that, we should have learned our lesson by then.
Yeah, because clearly I'm beginning to think what happened is, like I said, we buried a bunch of copies of E.T. out in the desert, and they all collectively cursed us.
It's like a reverse Mummy's curse, where
Yes!
instead of unearthing it, we buried it, and then it sought vengeance.
for the harm we put upon it. And so instead it cursed all licensed games from henceforth to be bad. And only a few,
only a few can
few
actually break through that ceiling.
can beat the curse. And they are the chosen ones.
Yeah, but I love the John Wick movie. Both of them are stellar movies.
Right.
I don't want to play the John Wick game.
No, it's a bad game.
I want to play a game where I am a guy in a black suit and I go around shooting machine guns and doing karate at dudes.
That's called Hitman. Actually.
Yeah, I mean that's Hitman, but
But yeah, that's the thing. You could make a John Wick game, or you could just go play Hitman.
Yeah.
Which is a way better game than I promise any John Wick game could ever be.
Yeah.
Because Hitman Blood Money is a genuinely good video game. You will never be able to top, your shitty license game will never be able to top an actual video game.
They'll never hit that we always say you'll never make Call of Duty money, or you'll never make Zelda money, but licensed games can't even make the bottom of the barrel money.
They can't make the same kind of quality. Your shitty John Wick game will never be as good as Hitman Blood Money. Mm-hmm. So why even try? Your license game is never going to be as good as a video game made by an actual video game company who knows what they're doing. Your bad license game is never going to be as good ever. Unless, of course, you're, Escape from Butcher Bay.
Yeah, unless you're, Rocksteady and you make Batman. Or, again,
right.
Unless you just take the idea of
and
that
do
franchise
your own thing
and
with
make something unique out of it.
AKA, you make a real video game.
Yeah.
Surprise, surprise. It's not hard. It's really not rocket science, but at the end of the day, I mean, it is just... It was, like you said, it's on a major downswing. I haven't seen a lot of licensed games lately based off of grown-up properties.
The
there's
Wii,
little kid properties.
I mean, you're gonna get
your Trolls games.
Yeah,
and stuff that.
Those are never going to go away. But
right.
The difference between stuff like that is those are made for an audience of babies,
right?
And they're not going to be the kind they're not going to be the games that we're going to want to play,
Right, yeah. But...
the inevitable, Scene It game that comes out for the PS4 is not for us.
Right, and it's just, it's just
The difference is that, the Captain America game or the Iron Man game are advertised at us. And they're hey, we can do it too! No, you can't, and
really
we can see that really clearly.
But they're on the downswing, which is,
they are.
They're on I haven't really seen anything like that lately. So, I guess we've kind of cleared the hurdle. Maybe they learned their lesson. Maybe we'll just get good superhero games soon. Maybe Spider-Man is going to start a revolution. Who knows? That'd be nice. Spider-Man kind of did technically start a revolution by making a lot of money with the Tobey Maguire movies, so maybe it'll happen again. Mm-hmm. Good Spider-Man movie is kind of the beginning of the superhero, genesis, It
started with Blade.
It started with
1998. Blade.
Did Blade sell well?
Yes.
Really?
Blade was the first successful superhero film.
Huh.
So Blade is the genesis of the superhero genre.
We should get a good Blade game then.
A Blade game would be awesome.
That would be fucking dope, right?
Like
that's an easy concept to turn into
he
a
kills
video.
vampires.
You go on missions, kill vampires. What a simple concept. That is so easy to make into a video game. Now that I think about it.
Yeah.
How have they not gotten a good Blade game?
Right.
What the fuck?
There's so much potential for, like, really, really good games out
Yeah.
there. Not even superheroes, like, just out of, like, any sort of, like, really good action thing or anything like that. All you have to do is just not be afraid to branch out.
And do something different.
Like the potential John Wick game, like the hypothetical John Wick game.
Mm-hmm.
You and I know it would be, we've got Keanu Reeves' likeness, and you can see his pores in
Right.
this. What it should be is a really artistic, like, cel-shaded style game
Right.
that, like, captures the feel, like, the neon, like, the dark, but, like, the light neon,
Right.
like, visuals of John Wick. It should capture that style and sleekness in its art style.
And it doesn't need to be the retelling of John Wick as a video game. It just needs to play well and look cool.
Yeah, it can be whatever John Wick's adventure you want it to be. But, like, it just needs to capture that feeling, and it will be more successful that way.
I agree. But, yeah. So, yeah, man. Licensed video games. It's fucking crazy. Maybe someday we'll get a good one. Maybe someday, Ben.
And, like, yeah, I can't believe I didn't mention this the entire time, but, like, the best licensed franchise we have out there is Kingdom Hearts.
Kingdom Hearts doesn't count, Ben.
Does it, though?
It doesn't count.
It's a Disney product.
It doesn't count. I'm not letting it count.
You're not letting...
I'm not letting Kingdom Hearts count because I'm not letting you turn another podcast into Kingdom Hearts.
I'm not. I wasn't going to do that. I just wanted to mention it because I don't want someone on Twitter to be like, you forgot to mention it. I'm like, yeah,
I'm not
because
counting Kingdom Hearts.
Kingdom Hearts is like a whole thing, you know?
It's like the kind of like how I don't technically count the Batman games.
Yeah, because they're their own...
They're their own thing. They don't
yeah.
count the way that the Kingdom Hearts, Kingdom Hearts and Batman don't count. Like, sure, you're using Disney characters, but it's like its own self-contained universe.
Yeah,
it's not an adaptation.
You don't need to, like, know the character or, like, whatever. Like, you can kind of go into it kind of blind and just kind of figure it out on your own. Like, you just need to know the core concept of these characters. You don't need to know what part of their thing they're in.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it doesn't, like, none of that really even matters. Like, so yeah, Kingdom Hearts doesn't count. Yeah. Sorry, I hate to break it to you, buddy. Kingdom Hearts doesn't count.
I'm okay with not putting it along the lines of Captain America
and
like,
and all these other terrible games. Yeah, Kingdom Hearts is its own beast.
Kingdom Hearts contemporaries are not Catwoman.
Right.
I'm okay with that.
Although the platforming in Kingdom Hearts 1 was almost as bad.
It was pretty bad.
It was almost as bad.
I don't know, man. At least you could press a face button to jump in Kingdom Hearts.
You're right.
It wasn't X, but I mean, like...
God, it was so bad. Seriously. Fuck the people who made the Catwoman game and made Jump R1. And her stupid run animation.
Oh, it looked terrible.
It's so bad.
This is, like, so obscure because I bet the number of people who act, like, the Venn diagram of people who listen to our podcast and have played Catwoman is just two circles.
It's two circles side by side that, like, might be, like, sneezing at each other. You know? But, like, really, we got, like, a weird desire to play bad superhero games, and we played Catwoman, and it was really, like, next level bad, because she runs like a cat, which looks stupid.
It looks very disjointed.
Yeah,
like literally disjointed, like
she's literally breaking her joints.
Her hip dislocates in order to do it properly.
Oh my god, it's so bad. Just,
go check out, like, a quick, like, I'm sure there's a video on YouTube. Just go check out, and when you watch it, be like, it can't be that bad. It is that bad.
It is that bad.
It plays like the entire game is underwater.
Yeah, imagine if you were playing a game submersed in pudding.
Imagine, like, the entire game is on NyQuil.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like.
That is exactly what it feels like. If you were on NyQuil and you stayed up past the time that, like, you should be falling asleep when you're on NyQuil, that's kind of what
that weird,
Catwoman.
like, tingle that
Yeah.
you get in, like, all your extremities, and you're like, everything's a little bit off.
And you just kind of feel like you're living in an extremely cursed state. That's what Catwoman feels like. Catwoman is a sequence of cursed images. It's a bad video game, kids. Oh, but most licensed games are.
Yeah.
Alright, well, we good?
I think that'll cover it for now.
That
That's enough, like, yelling about bad video games. Which we'll do more of that.
Soon.
Yeah.
Real soon.
Fuck it. Next week we're talking about David Cage games.
I'm so excited!
We're in, like, a weird point right now where we can't advance the schedule because neither of us have beaten Persona 5. So for, like, the next month or so, it's just gonna be the two of us talking about, like, weirdo topics.
Right, while we continue to play P5. It's like, we can't say we've beaten, we said this last week, I think?
Yeah.
You can't say you've beaten a Persona game until you've played it 1.5 times. Because, like, at the halfway mark, that's when you realize that, like...
all the events, like, click.
Everything suddenly clicks in place and you go, oh. And, like, that's when you've officially beaten a Persona game. Is when everything makes sense. And until that happens, you're not done with it. I mean, yeah, you beat the game once, but you're not done with it.
We didn't beat it to the point where we can actually discuss it.
Right.
So, like, that's what we're waiting for. And then, once that's happened, then we can get back to, like, Horizon and Resident Evil and that kind of stuff.
Someday I'll finish Horizon because it's a really good game. I'm so sorry, Guerrilla Games. Your game is really, really good.
Like, I feel, and, like... I told you I have Yooka-Laylee and I have Cosmic Star Heroine, and I'm like, you guys are, like, I know you guys are good, but Persona,
But
and
Persona
I'm really sorry.
5 happened super, super hard and ate my life, and I'm totally okay with it because it's really damn good. That's like our, like, 2-second review for Persona 5 it's really damn good.
Yep.
So you should go play it. But, Ben, take us out.
Okay, so... thanks to Broke for Free. If you use our background music, link to his work in the description. You can follow us on Twitter at The Gorge Podcast. You can email us about licensed crappy video games at thegorgepodcast@gmail.com.
Do you want to tell me I'm wrong about The Dark Knight Rises?
Yeah.
Fuck you, I'm right about The Dark Knight Rises.
Task, tell us about The Dark Knight Rises on Twitter. Tell Sarah how wrong she is, or right she is. I don't know.
I'm so right. The Dark Knight Rises is a terrible movie.
I had fun watching it, and then afterward, like, a month later, I'm like, wait a minute.
That was a bad movie!
That wasn't very good. Hey! Wait a minute! You tricked me, Batman!
Christopher Nolan, you son of a bitch! You tried to trick me with Marion Cotillard, and it worked!
And then I watched Batman vs Superman, and I'm like, wait a minute! The Dark Knight Rises was pretty good, actually!
Oh,
you tricked me!
You tricked me again, you Zack Snyder!
Oh, you! And Zack Snyder's like, waka waka!
I actually believe that's how Zack Snyder talks every time he opens his mouth.
Yep.
He just sounds like a grown-up from a Charlie Brown cartoon. And then he makes the same bad movie over and over again. Like the Watchmen and Batman vs Superman is the same bad movie.
You're right.
For the same reasons.
Yeah.
Like, because he's just trying to make 300 again,
Mm-hmm.
and it's never gonna work. Zack Snyder has been trying to remake 300 for like 7 years now and failed every single time. Anyway,
Sarah, tell us about your other podcast.
hey, I'm in another podcast called Big Gay Nerds. It's an LGBT RPG live play podcast. High five me, I got it right. Where we sit around and we play Dungeons and Dragons and Monster Hearts and other types of games, and it's really good. We cycle through different types of systems once a month. You should come check us out. We are on SoundCloud at Big Gay Nerds. We're on Tumblr at Big Gay Nerds. We keep having trouble getting the Twitter set up, but someday I will be able to tell you to follow us on Twitter at Big Gay Nerds. Just not right now.
Oh, we also have The Gorge has a Tumblr at thegorgepodcast.tumblr.com. We don't really use it a whole lot, but we're going to use it more.
Someday. I keep forgetting about it because I like the Twitter a lot more.
Yeah. the Twitter's also easier to log into.
Yeah, it is.
Because
it's always on my phone.
Yeah, because, like, Tumblr still hasn't done the thing like Reddit has done where you can swap accounts really easily, and I wish Tumblr would do that.
Tumblr will never do anything smart like that.
Yeah.
It's Tumblr. So, yeah. Tumblr launched a new app. Like, despite the fact that their current app doesn't. They have, like, some new startup little weird social network thing. I didn't even check what it was, but I got an email about it, like, hey, come check out our new thing. And I was like, you can't even make your current thing run right. Maybe you should take a break, Tumblr. So, like, yeah, anyways, Tumblr will never make it work right.
Yep.
So maybe someday we'll remember to use the Gorge Tumblr. But for now, just go follow us at Twitter. We're pretty cool.
Yeah.
Is that everything?
Yeah, that'll be it. Fuck licensed games.
Fuck the jump in Catwoman.
Yeah, fuck the jump in Catwoman. Good night, everyone.
Good night, guys.